There we go. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody. Hey, guys. How are we? Let me get TikTok, and we're good. Oh, and my the right microphone on TikTok. That's always good. Before they yell at me. There we go. Ha. There we go. All right. Woo. All right. Welcome, everybody. Oh, interesting. On Discord, it's making me look red. Oh, different screens. Okay. Who knows? Maybe the screen is redder on Discord. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Welcome, TikTok, YouTube, Discord. How's everybody doing today? Hello. I think we're actually copacetic here. Oh, let me pull up the comments on Discord. There you are. Okay, now I see Dave and Manana. All right, this is good. Good to see you guys. Hello, everybody on TikTok, YouTube. How are we all doing today? I am good. I'm just lots of procedural stuff I've been dealing with, but oh well, so much fun. Hello, Sweden. Bjorn. Of course you're Bjorn. You're from Sweden. Bjorn's such a great name. Bjorn means bear, I think, right? I didn't know about that. Thank you, Cater. I learned it because there was German. What was the bear at the German zoo that they named Bjorn or something like that? There was some story about that because Bjorn means bear. I don't even remember what the story was here. But in any case, that's when I learned. Oh, Mark Thompson interview. Yes, Shelley. You know, I have to admit, I'd not heard of Mark Thompson before, and he's amazing. I just interviewed on this guy's, I don't know if it's a podcast or what you'd really call it, video, radio, whatever. But we talked about Ukraine and lots of Trump politics and everything else. It was very fun. It was, I like him a lot. Yeah, they want to have me on again in a few weeks. So I'm going to absolutely tell them I'd love to, just because he was fun to talk to. So anyway, welcome everybody. So today is Thursday. What is it? March 20th. This weekend we do our coffee talk. Just remember, I swear to God, these people, I don't know what it is with like all the Middle Eastern people that keep trying to join my live. It's always them. Somebody with Arabic in their name. Different people every day try to join the live. And it's like, why? I have no idea. It's clearly a thing, but whatever. Bjorn Borg is not actually a Borg. He's not a Borg bear either, probably. Thank you, Bart, for the gift. Thank you, T-Bone. Thank you, Real Life. So Saturday morning is our show we do for I guess the mods and I. We do a show every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time US for the paid monthly subscribers. That's the subscribers on TikTok that have SNN next to their name. Discord, any of you whose name are colored and not white. YouTube, any of you whose name is green. I do a show at 11 a.m. Eastern Time US. And remember our time changed 2 weeks ago, so keep that in mind. But we talk about whatever you want, actually. The weekend show is basically my thanks to you guys. And we hang out and we talk about really it's up to you, basically. We talk about what you want. So I don't really prepare a show. It's more just a chance of hanging out. No yoga this weekend. No, that was a special class. But is TikTok going away in 3 weeks? Bryce, the latest news on TikTok was a couple days ago that Oracle is in talks, apparently, at buying TikTok. It's not clear whether that would be enough for the American government, for Congress, et cetera. Who knows? Now, a couple things going on. Remember how Trump had sort of postponed the TikTok ban, kind of? And at first, Apple and Google didn't believe him. And remember, they weren't letting the TikTok app back in the App Store. Then Trump's Department of Justice did something that made Apple and Google trust him. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Magnus, great name. Inger. So then Trump promised not to prosecute the companies or whatever, and the app came back to the App Store. That promise goes through April 5th or something like that, basically 2 weeks from now. Trump could just extend it. So that's one possibility right there, right? Thank you, Jordy, for the pot of gold. So Trump, April 5th could come and Trump could just say, I'm extending it another 90 days, right? If the talks are real. Knowing Trump is very supportive of TikTok now, okay, which is good. Trump is the person who literally came up with the TikTok ban. It was his idea. Quite literally, you can Google this. I mean, it's kind of funny. It kind of cracks me up how Trump is able to get credit for so many things. And it was Trump's idea. Trump on Air Force One way back, 2018, whenever it was was like, we're going to ban TikTok. Let's ban TikTok. Google it. Totally true. And then within a week or two came out with an executive order to ban TikTok. Didn't work. Trump tried 3 times to ban TikTok, in fact, during his first administration. Up until maybe a year ago, Trump still wanted to ban TikTok and met with a billionaire donor of his who is an investor in ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok. And after meeting with the billionaire donor, Trump changed his mind after meeting with the man with a lot of money and now loves big TikTok. Having said that, I'm glad Trump loves TikTok. That's good, right? I want TikTok to survive. So I'm not complaining. But so anyway, the point is Trump is now on board with defending TikTok, which I think means that he will find a way of postponing the ban a little further, hopefully, right? So hopefully. Anyway, all right, let's start in with the news. I'll start with a little bit of American news first, and then we'll move over to Ukraine. There isn't a ton of American news today, but every single Cybertruck, pretty much every single Cybertruck just got recalled. Elon's trucks, all of them are in trouble. Something like 46,000 of them. I did not know. I was a little surprised. Elon has only sold 46,000 Cybertrucks since they came out in 2023. There is apparently a problem with them. There's some kind of ornamental thing on the side of the Cybertruck, a piece of metal, and they did such a bad job, Tesla did, of applying this thing that this whole piece of metal comes flying off the cars. And they're afraid of basically the car going 60 miles an hour on a highway and this piece of metal comes flying off and kills somebody. So they just recalled practically every single Cybertruck. And I think it's fabulous. Anything to punish that company, anything to punish Elon within the law is good with me. So I think it's hilarious. It is pretty funny, though. I don't know. 46,000 doesn't sound like that many to me. The stock is tanking. We know. I mean, the problem for TikTok's fine. The problem for Elon is his company has lost 34% of its value in the last month. I Googled because one of you guys had mentioned JP Morgan. I did not see the JP Morgan analysis that the TikTok, I keep saying TikTok, Tesla, JP Morgan predicted that Tesla is going to lose half of its value, that the stock price is going to drop to 120 or so, which is wild. They do have lots of vandalism and things happening against Teslas across the country. The problem, well, putting aside the vandalism, which is a problem for Tesla, the issue also is it is a sign of just how much people hate the Tesla brand now because of Elon. And that's not good. We've talked about this, especially a brand like Tesla where, you know, the very people they're pissing off, people on the left, Democrats, liberals, whatever word you want to use, are literally the very people who buy Teslas, right? It's the very people who buy Teslas are the people they pissed off. Conservative Republicans don't buy electric vehicles, usually. Democrats, liberals, whatever you want to call yourselves, people on the left, social democrats in Europe, right? We're the ones who buy Teslas, and we are the ones who Elon Musk has been attacking. We are the one who Elon Musk has been alienating. Elon Musk pandered to this far-right party in Germany, this neo-fascist party, to a far-right party in the UK, and they are not the people who buy electric vehicles. So Tesla's in real bad shape. What do you do? What do you do? Oh, well. Good question, BC. The star after your name, I am going to guess that the star after your name means how long you've been there. It's not letting me see when I click on it, but on YouTube, I don't know if anybody knows, but those kind of things mean how long you've been a member or something. So different people have different stars, different colors is how long, but of course it doesn't really help you. Any case, so yes, bad news for Elon. Bad news for Elon. Oh, well, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Washington Post, a federal judge on Thursday ordered that a Georgetown University fellow in the U.S. Who was detained by immigration authorities cannot be removed from the country. This is an interesting story. I don't think we've got, oh, you poor thing. I know. Oh my God, my poor dog behind me. Here, you guys can see. This is what I have to deal with. She's sitting here for the YouTube people and Discord, and she's just, I don't know if you can see, Sasha, it's okay. I know. That is the face of, you see the panting too. That is the face of panic. This is my poor dog panicking because of the weather. And people think it's a smile. It's not a smile. It's panic when they're panting like that. But it's raining outside and she hates it. So she's hanging out like 3 feet behind me and just standing there panicking. Oh, it makes me feel so bad. Oh, holding her doesn't matter. She has a Kukla, mom's dog, like to be held. Sasha does not like to be held. So I pick her up and then she wants to go down. And then I pick her up and she wants to go down. Thank you, Chris, for the gifts there. I appreciate that. So anyway, a teacher at Georgetown University, a professor, but a fellow, so not an assistant professor, we would say here in America, at Georgetown University from India, got arrested by the Trump people, and they're trying to kick him out of the country for being, well, here's the thing. We don't really have the full story because the Trump people are making allegations about this guy, but I don't trust the Trump people, right? I mean, we don't know if they're telling us the truth. What the Trump people are saying is this professor at Georgetown, again, not an American citizen, Indian working here, was promoting Hamas propaganda and promoting anti-Semitism on social media. This gets very weird because the Hamas thing is legally interesting. I'm a lawyer, and up until now in America, you have to follow the rule of law. You can't just kick somebody out because you don't like them, right? The Hamas thing we talked about the other day, and I was talking to a reporter friend of mine today about it. We both want to find out more information about this because under U.S. law, you can get into trouble for supporting terrorist groups, like promoting terrorist groups, endorsing them. But the problem is I will say this, as an American citizen, that's a little weird. Like we have very strong free speech rights in America because of our Constitution. Much stronger than you have in many European countries, maybe even all European countries. There are things, for example, that I've talked with Callum and others about this. You guys will have protests in the UK, for example, where somebody holds up a sign and they'll get arrested. And I forget what, like in America, you would get arrested if your sign literally said, go and attack the police or something, right? You would be arrested for that because that would be literally promoting violence. You could have a sign that endorses a terrorist group. You could have a sign that in America that says, I love this terrorist group, right? You could do that. You could Hamas. You could even, honestly, and the problem is I don't want to give examples because TikTok gets funny with the censorship thing. But you could hold a sign in America on the street corner that says you love Osama bin Laden and you love what he did on 9/11 if you wanted to. Legally, you could do that, right? In America, people would hate you, but it's totally legal. In European countries, some countries, that's Germany, we know, right? The German World War II history stuff. In America, totally legal to love those guys. And you could publicly say it on a street corner that you love those guys. The World War II German party, you know who I mean? And the man, you could say you love that guy, the H-man, right? You could say it's totally legal in America. So you get into it. So it's a weird, with that context, these stories are even stranger about Trump trying to kick out people who are not Americans, but are foreigners working here in the U.S. who are pro-Palestinian, because generally speaking, we have very strong free speech rights in this country, stronger than you've got in many European countries. So it makes it an even harder, but it gets very complicated with the immigration angle. Meaning I don't know, because for example, one of the things I was thinking of today was with regards to you're getting wheelchair. I hope you're not being, I was just going to say, you're going to get banned for that. You know what, mods, report that person as well. That kind of stuff we don't stand for. Yeah. Violent stuff is creepy. Report that guy. Thank you for the gifts, by the way. What gets interesting with some of this is that it is, for example, with the immigration side, it's one thing for U.S. immigration officials to say they don't want to let you in the country because you're pro-Hamas or whatever you are, right? It's another thing for them to kick you out. That I suspect, thank you, Tony, for the gift. I suspect that it is a higher threshold legally to kick somebody out of the country than it is to say we're not going to let you in. Foreigners, not Americans, of course. In any case, so these stories are very weird, but they've been going after people. And it's getting a little creepy. I mean, there may not be any more rules. That's the concern. Fluent Bridges said there are no more rules. That's the concern. Is are these guys just breaking so many rules now? And they don't. And honestly, what we're seeing is the Trump people don't necessarily care. On a lot of this, and it's not a bad move politically. I think it's horrible, but I mean, not necessarily smart. It may be smart. They're trying to just get stuff done quickly, so it's too late for the judges to step in. USAID, they destroyed our foreign aid organization, right? They just destroyed it. And now the judges are trying to catch up. Well, good luck. They've already destroyed it, right? You kick these people out. They kicked those guys out and sent them to El Salvador. They tried to fly them out of the country before the judges could say anything. In this case, the judges ordered them not to kick this guy out of the country. Thank you, Maddie. I don't know whether he's already been kicked out of the country, though, right? Because they took him and they basically, even worse, this guy, this Georgetown professor, reportedly, people wearing like masks or hoods or whatever grabbed him off the street. I mean, this stuff doesn't happen in America. I mean, it is now, but you don't grab people off the street wearing hoods. I mean, that kind of stuff literally doesn't happen here. I mean, obviously it does now. Thank you, Marsha, for the gift. Really, really freaking weird. Really freaking weird. So yeah. So the judge weighed in today and said that they cannot remove this guy from the country pending the court case. Let's see if they abide by the judge. But it's going to be very interesting to see what the legal standard is for, as I said, for turning people away from entering the U.S., but also from kicking people out of the U.S. if they're not American citizens. And these guys are going to try to get everything they can. Oh, tourism is going to be decimated, and it should. At this point, they just grabbed, was it a French? This is a story I heard about today. A French, let me find this really quick. A French climate change expert. They grabbed, oh my God, they grabbed her at the border. This is what I was hearing today. A French climate change expert, scientist, was at the US border coming in, and they went through her cell phone and found text messages in which she expressed support, maybe for Hamas or something. Maybe she even expressed support for October 8th. I don't know, whatever, right, in Israel, the attack. But they went through her phone and found text messages and apprehended her basically at the border. I mean, that is, hold on, French climate scientist. Let me see if I can pull this up. That gets very creepy because I'm going to see if I can find the story here. Here we go. France 24. Here we go. French scientists denied U.S. entry over text messages. Oh, criticizing Trump. Oh my God. Her text messages were criticizing Trump. It wasn't even terrorism, guys. Listen to this. French officials have expressed their dismay after a French scientist was denied entry into the United States because immigration officials found text messages containing a personal opinion about the Trump administration and its policies on scientific research. Let me see here. This measure was apparently taken by the American authorities because the researcher's phone contained exchanges with colleagues and friends in which he expressed a personal opinion about the Trump administration's climate research policy. The researcher was en route to a conference in Houston. According to an unnamed source cited by Agence France-Presse, U.S. authorities labeled the messages as hatred towards Trump that could be qualified as terrorism. I mean, guys, this is insane. This is insane stuff. I want to see, I doubt they're going to tell us anything about what the person said. I mean, this is, actually, I forgot about this story. This is bad. I mean, this is obviously bad. It is one thing, and bad enough, to say, you can't support Palestinians or whatever, right? Because as I told you, in America, you're allowed to be a bigot. You're allowed to be hateful. We have freedom of speech here. We did up until now. But to go through first of all, First of all, to get it, I mean, I'm really, I have to do a video on TikTok about this afterwards. I can't imagine anyone, I wouldn't be caught dead going to a European country. If I knew you were going to read all my text messages, I would tell you to go to hell and I wouldn't visit your country if you did that. I cannot imagine anyone coming to this country if we are doing that. I mean, think about it seriously. And I mean this literally though. Would you come to the US if you knew that the border people were going to check your cell phone for all your messages? I mean, no, I know they can do this, but they haven't. They haven't done it to us. Typically, that's not the kind of thing we typically do here. It's outrageous. No, again, they can do it. The border has always been a special situation. Thank you, Lee Shaw, for the crane. The border has always been a special situation under the law that border police can do a lot, even to Americans. They can search you, for example, whereas they don't need probable cause to search you at the border, for air travel, for example. But my God, they went through the French scientist's phone and found text messages critical of Donald Trump. So they grabbed them at the border and wouldn't let them in the country. Inside the US, the standard is much higher, Ethan. They need for example, to search you, they need probable cause. They need, I'm going to define this poorly, but probable cause is a reasonable belief based on evidence that there is that you have committed a crime or that you have contraband or whatever. But they would have to police just can't stop you and say, I'm going to frisk you. Police would have to stop you because they literally saw you put a drug or a gun in your pocket or something like that. Then they could search you, right? But there has to be some evidence as a basis for why they're searching you. At the border, they don't. At the border, they can just do anything they want. I mean, not anything, but it's always been very open. But my God, going through your cell phone? Woo. Thank you, Marsha. I mean, that's just terrifying. And again, because you criticized Trump. Now that's interesting. Poppy, is that true though? Is that true? If your phone is locked, they need a warrant but at the border, I can't imagine anyone coming across the border that doesn't lock their phone, right? My phone's locked when I cross the border. I don't go to immigration and have my phone unlocked, right? Now the Face ID, that's a funny question. You're right, because they hold it up to your face, right? Wow. Yeah, I totally forgot to do that video tape. I'm sorry, but this is very weird stuff. Also, here's the problem too. Again, I don't know if you need probable cause. This is one of our ChatGPT questions. Let's ask ChatGPT. Hold on a second. I'm curious about probable cause at the border for searching phones, for example. Let's see. Hang on. All right. 1 second here. It's making me log in. All right. I will log in. Here we go. All right. Let me see. What's my question? When entering the US at an airport, do they need probable cause to search my cell phone if I'm an American and or a foreigner? Let's see. When entering the U.S. at an airport, Customs and Border Patrol officers do not need probable cause or a warrant to search your cell phone, whether you are an American citizen or a foreigner. Border Patrol, this is ChatGPT, which means it's not always 100% correct. Keep that in mind, right? Border Patrol officers have broad authority under the border search exception to the Fourth Amendment, allowing them to conduct searches of electronic devices without probable cause or a warrant. They can conduct a basic search scrolling through your phone without suspicion. For an advanced search using forensic tools to copy data, they must have reasonable suspicion of a law violation or a national security concern. For U.S. citizens, they cannot deny you entry if you refuse to unlock your phone, but they can detain your device for further examination. You cannot be deported or denied re-entry, as citizens have an absolute right to return. If you refuse to provide access, they can hold your phone for 5 days as an American. For foreigners, they can deny you entry into the U.S. if you refuse to unlock your phone, because foreigners do not have the same constitutional protections as Americans. Wow. Courts are divided on the scope of these searches. Some rulings suggest that forensic searches are basically, they plug your phone into a device in order to like read everything, right? Some rulings suggest that forensic searches should require a warrant, but Border Patrol still conducts them without one. You have the right to legal counsel, but Border Patrol does not have to allow it before searching your phone. Wow. 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 Laptop would be the same thing. Laptop. Let me ask him. I'll bet you laptop is the same thing. How about a laptop? I guarantee you it's going to be the same thing. Let me see. Yes, U.S. Border Patrol can search your laptop when entering the U.S., whether you're a citizen or not. They don't need probable cause. They can turn on your laptop and review files, emails, photos, and browsing history. They do not need a warrant or probable cause. The advanced forensic software. Listen to this. If they suspect criminal activity, what does that mean? Suspecting criminal activity, right? If they suspect criminal activity, they may copy or use software to extract data from your laptop. Border Patrol claims they only need reasonable suspicion, not probable cause or a warrant. It's a lower threshold to copy your laptop. They can detain your laptop for 5 days. U.S. citizens cannot be denied entry. They can detain your device. Foreigners can be denied entry if you don't open your laptop. Wow. Wow. They cannot force you to access the cloud. Any locally stored data can be searched. Wow. Use a separate travel laptop. Turn off your device before arrival to prevent forensic extraction of data. Oh, that's interesting. So before you arrive, you don't want the laptop actually on sleeping. You want it off entirely. Enable full disk encryption. Store sensitive data in the cloud. Use a complex password that they can't guess. Wow. Oh, that is just freaking me out now. Wow. No, I mean, this stuff, as I said, I always knew that historically they have an incredible power, but my God, I mean, the thing is, as we said, I have never heard stories about them going through people's phones at the border. I mean, unless you were literally a criminal, right? Like you were a dealer or something. I've never heard of them just going after you because, mind you, you're a French climate scientist. I mean, that's about as white bread as you can get. We say white bread in America, meaning like, because our white bread is so white, it's so pure, but in a bad way, but meaning there's nothing there, right? So like, it doesn't get, I mean, maybe English would be the only thing, whiter than French scientists. I mean, there's just literally, my God. I mean, that was ChatGPT. It could be wrong, but a lot of this sounds correct to me as a lawyer. Wow. Man. Well, Egypt, who got you coming back to Egypt, though? Was it the U.S. or was it the Egyptians? ICE took a Canadian lady for 2 weeks. Now, as I said, with each of the individual stories, I want to know the details, I mean, because we don't really, poor thing. She's still sitting in the living room. She's not even laying down. She's just sitting in the living room, panicked. I gave her a little sleeping pill because it's raining outside and my dog panics, but still, wow, man, oh man. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be traveling to my country either. Wow. Okay. Well, so that's scary. Okay. Glad we looked into that information. That was scary as hell. Wow. Yeah, no, it's anyway, but very scary because I mean, you think of your computer, I mean, right? God knows what's on your computer, unless it's a work computer. But if like, for people that, I mean, my God, Jesus Christ. Wow. Anyway. All right, let's keep going here. So, actually, let's move to the Ukraine talk. Well, actually, or we can talk about this. Anybody, do we want to talk a little more about this or what? Otherwise, we'll move on and do Ukraine. 2 years ago, I was coming back from Egypt and they stopped me at the airport because of your last name. Oh, you mean, coming back to the US from Egypt. Well, what did they do though? Because typically one of the things we talked about is at the border, they're meant to be a little pushy. I've had them be a little pushy with me sometimes just because it's their job to push you a little just to make you nervous because bad people, if they're nervous, they'll get even more nervous, right? But I do not believe in being just gratuitously rude at the border, meaning the customs. Now, I had it happen to me once in England. I was arriving when I was 19 and they were just asses to me. I mean, it was, I forgot the details now. I just remember the guy was so freaking rude. And I was like, I'm an American arriving in England with a US passport, born in America. Again, how much more white bread could I be? You know what I mean? And this guy was very worried about me entering England. And I was like, why? Like, in what possible universe could I be a threat? You know, but he was a jerk. But maybe that's their, having said that too, it's entirely possible that, oh, Terry, too bad you're going to leave us now. It's entirely possible that they randomly pick people too. I mean, it could be every 10th person. I mean, for the Brits, then they could say every 10th person, give them a hard time, just because we randomly grill every 10th person just to check. So who knows, I usually don't have problems. I had it once in New York too, coming into New York City from abroad. I was working for a United States Senator at the time. I was doing foreign policy work for him. I traveled abroad a lot with him. So my passport had lots of foreign stamps. And the border guy in New York was like, yeah, you travel a lot. And I said, yeah, I work for a United States Senator, blah, blah, blah. I'm his foreign policy aide. So we do a lot of congressional delegations. He didn't like that. He just kept going. And he kind of kept, yeah, but you got a lot of stamps from a lot of countries. And I go, at that point, you're like, oh my God, he's stupid. I'm like, yes, because as I said, we visit a lot of countries with the senator and they stamp your passport when you go into the country. Thus, I have a lot of stamps from countries because I work in the United States Senate. You could call them. It was just weird. But then again, that's the only time, I really think that's the only time I've had an American be rude to me. But, well, yeah, that may be the only time. Anyway, Board of Education stuff. It's the Department of Education. I don't think it's new. Trump, he finally signed the executive order today, getting rid of the Department of Education. He's been talking for a week about doing this. I sort of didn't bring it up because today it's not new. It came up again yesterday. We know they're trying to eliminate the Department of Education. The sad part is it's going to hurt them more than it hurts us, because it's going to be, goofy states that use this to teach their kids that dinosaurs didn't exist. You know what I mean? That the earth is 6,000 years old. I mean, they're going to teach their kids that. And the good states, the democratic states, are going to teach their kids science and math. And okay, if you want to teach your kid that the sun revolves around the earth, good luck with that, getting a job, outside of Gilead. But, it's, it's crazy. Anyway. All right. Let's move on with Ukraine. It's day 1119 of Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. Russia's Engels Air Base, which is a big air base in Russia, is aflame following a Ukrainian drone strike. Ukraine also reportedly destroyed a Russian command post in Belgorod. Actually, I will get my map. Belgorod is right across the Ukrainian border. Belgorod's here. Yes. It's been a long time that we haven't talked about Belgorod. I almost forgot where it is. Belgorod is right here. Interestingly, the Russians had claimed yesterday that the Ukrainians were attacking across the border. I wonder whether this is what they were referring to, because the Ukrainians denied it. But if they attacked a Russian command center, that might be what the Russians were referring to. Anyway, they attacked it, which is good. Trump and Zelensky, a little more details came out from Zelensky about what he talked to Trump about in his phone call the other day. Please keep the gifts coming, guys. I always have to remind you, but I do this for a living and I do it full time. Your gifts pay my bills. Please, please, please. Or even better, subscribe, TikTok and YouTube. Discord too, though the Discordians, most of you, well, no, I guess some of you don't subscribe. It's okay. You're allowed not to subscribe. But if you can subscribe, it's very helpful to me as a monthly sort of stipend. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you. I see more gifts coming now. Thank you, Ethan and others, Sir and Good, damn Good, and Marie. So Zelensky was giving a little more information about what he talked to Trump about the other day following the phone call they had about Trump's call with Putin. And Zelensky says that Trump did not mention Crimea during his recent talks with Putin, supposedly. Let's see. I mean, the concern is that Trump is basically planning on giving away Crimea to Russia, and that they've given indications of that. Thank you, Bowie. Trump also previously had said that anyway. He had said a long time ago that he thinks back in like 2016 that he thinks that Crimea is Russian anyway. Reuters, Ukrainian soldiers in Kursk have lost ground in recent days, but are not encircled by Russian. Oh, this is funny. Okay. This is actually a funny story. Or funny, not funny. Let me read you the story and then tell you the background. Reuters, Ukrainian soldiers in Kursk, which is a Russian region right across the border from Ukraine, have lost ground in recent days, but are not encircled by Russian forces, contrary to recent comments by U.S. President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, according to 3 U.S. and European officials familiar with the government's intelligence assessments. So Trump, who lies all the time, the other day, and what's bad about this lie is it's Russian propaganda. It's a lie he got from Vladimir Putin. And Putin gave him the lie, and Trump believed it and repeated it. And even worse, Putin used it to get something out of Trump, which is horrific. Putin tells Trump that, oh my God, we've got the Ukrainians surrounded. Thousands of Ukrainians are surrounded in the Kursk region of Russia that Ukraine had invaded, and we're about to destroy all these thousands of troops. It's not true. It's just, and as these U.S. and European officials said today to Reuters, it's not true. The Ukrainian troops were not surrounded. Putin tells Trump this lie. Trump believes the lie. Trump then publicly multiple times calls on Putin to spare the thousands of Ukrainian troops he has surrounded. Again, it's not true. He does not surround the troops. But by Trump asking Putin to do this, Trump is now basically asking Putin for a favor, which means Trump will owe him something. So Putin then tells Trump the other day that he's going to spare the troops. So Trump goes public after his call with Putin and claims credit for getting Putin to save the lives of these troops that Putin has encircled, even though Putin didn't really encircle them and he lied and Trump believed the lies. So now Trump either did something in return or will do something in return to Putin in exchange for the favor Putin did of not attacking these Ukrainian troops when Putin never had these Ukrainian troops to start with. It was a total lie, and Trump believed it. It wasn't even speculation. It was a lie. It's not even speculation. It was a lie. There's no evidence. Bottom line is, if you have no evidence to back something up, it's not speculation. It's BS. Anyway, so yes, that says Reuters had a story today saying that, big surprise, none of it was true. European Union is providing $1 billion in aid to Ukraine backed by Russian frozen assets. That's nice. The EU, this was interesting. The EU's Economy and Trade Commissioner, Valdis Dombrovskis, said that the European Union should not return Russia's frozen assets unless Russia pays reparations to Ukraine, which is very interesting. The story confirmed what I thought, and I mentioned the other day, that basically the US and Europe have $300 billion with a B dollars in Russian assets frozen, and the Europeans control $200 billion of them, right? Which is very interesting. Oh, Bruce, you're leaving too. I've been doing this for so long. It is so easy to tell who the trolls are. So easy to tell. Bruce is probably a troll, but let's talk about it. So Bruce goes, how do you know it's a lie if you don't have proof that Trump lied about the Ukrainian troops being encircled? Here's how you know. No, I don't know. Bruce may or may not be a troll. Here's how you know. Because in the real world, we don't believe things based on no evidence. And we don't say, well, I'm going to claim something that I have no proof, but you have to disprove it or it's real. No, that doesn't work that way. I can't make something up about you and say, oh, right? I mean, we all know you did X, Y, and Z. And unless you can prove it's not true, it's true. No, in no place on the planet does it exist where something is true unless it's disproven? No, 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 no. Something is not true unless you can prove it. We do not go and claim something with no evidence whatsoever. As the Trump officials said and the European officials said, there is zero evidence that the Ukrainians are being surrounded by the Russians. So it's a lie. And the reason it's a lie too is that we know Trump was told about this. Trump has better information than anybody on the planet. And he's repeating a Putin lie. So anyway, well, except in Russia, exactly. Exactly. What else we got? So this is Italian Prime Minister Meloni. She just kind of cracks me up. I know she's trouble. I know she's kind of far right. On Ukraine, she's really good. And it's very interesting. I mean, it's just interesting because I know, her party is a bit to the right for my taste. But she reiterated calls today for Ukraine to be protected under the NATO charter. Basically, even if Ukraine doesn't officially join NATO, to protect Ukraine under NATO's Article 5, which basically says, an attack on one is an attack on all. We would come to Ukraine's aid. She's proposed this before. She proposed it again today. Now, her argument I thought was very interesting. Actually, her argument was very interesting. I'm going to read you her quote, but it was very good. She said, extending NATO's Article 5, which is the protection, right, to Ukraine seems to be the simplest and most effective proposal of all, also because it would help call a possible Putin bluff. She says, if Russia does not plan to invade its neighbors again, it's not clear why it should not accept security guarantees that are only defensive. Meaning, if Russia's not planning on invading Ukraine, why does it care if we say we will go to war if you invade Ukraine, right? NATO will go to war with you if you invade Ukraine. The promise isn't NATO. The NATO promise is defensive. Joining NATO doesn't mean France declares war on Russia and the rest have to join in. It doesn't work that way. It has to be defensive. You have to be attacked by the bad guy, and then everyone has to come to your defense. So her point is, why does Putin get to say he doesn't want Ukraine to be a member of NATO, right? It's a defensive. It's not an offensive promise. It's a defensive promise. If Putin is telling the truth and he has no intention of ever invading Ukraine again, then he shouldn't be afraid of Europe promising to go to war if he invades Ukraine. I thought it was cute. It's very, thank you, Jill, for the gift. It was very cute. I mean, again, she's problematic because she's very far right. Thank you, NAR, for the gift. But on this one, we'll give her credit on this one. She's good on Ukraine. I mean, the Italians will tell you she's not, depending on, I guess, on your politics, she's very far right. But boy, she's good on the Russia stuff and good on the Ukraine stuff. Let me see here. Oh, so Trump is back on the rare earth minerals again. So remember yesterday, and this is crazy. Yesterday, the White House says that, thank you, Woodson, the glowing globe. Yesterday, the White House says, sorry, I woke up early again today. Yesterday, the White House says that Trump has no intention of getting this rare earth deal. Okay, I should probably step back. A couple of weeks ago, Trump said, I want half of Ukraine's minerals. I want their lithium. I want their whatever the hell, other minerals. And we deserve it because we gave them some. Remember, Trump claimed we gave Ukraine $300 billion. Total lie. We gave them like $118 billion. Which is a lot of money, but it's not $300 billion. I'm not a big fan of lies. But he claimed it was $300 billion, and I want $500 billion. I want $500 billion in Ukrainian minerals, Trump said. Thank you, Randy Fred. The deal kind of blew up when Trump beat up Zelensky at the White House. And yesterday, the White House got asked about it. Like, is there any movement on the mineral deal? And they said, well, we've moved on. We've moved on. We're not worried about the mineral deal anymore. Now we're focusing on the peace treaty, on the ceasefire. And obviously it was BS because the mineral deal was Trump shaking down Ukraine, right? Trump extorting Ukraine to get stuff that has monetary value. That's pure Trump. Trump doesn't stop shaking down Ukraine. Trump doesn't turn down money because he's more interested in a ceasefire. No, he's not, right? That doesn't make any sense. Well, today, Trump said, one of the things we're doing is signing a deal very shortly with respect to rare earths. With respect to rare earths, he calls them. It's so bad. Rare earths. They're rare earth minerals. Rare earths. right? So we're going to strike a deal with regard to rare earths with Ukraine, which have tremendous value. Who the hell knows? Who knows? The French government is reported. This was interesting too. The French government is reportedly planning to send a survival manual to all households containing containing advice on what to do in the event of an armed conflict, natural disaster, or health crisis. Little weird. Having said that, it probably is good information for your citizens to have, but it does kind of make people go, remember with New York a couple years ago when with the start of the Ukraine war, when there was some kind of civil defense practice, or what was it? Something like that with New York City. And everyone kind of went, what are you doing? Like, is there something we don't know about? Right. Finally, and I Googled the story and I can't find anything more on it, but Trump, as part of his effort to basically destroy NATO, he's now proposing that the U.S. command, basically NATO's military commander is the Supreme Allied Commander in Europe, SACEUR, he's called. And he is always an American general, okay? Always an American general. Trump now wants it to no longer be an American general. He wants it to be a European general. And before Europeans get all excited like he's empowering you, he's not empowering you. He wants it so that he can pull out of Europe. This is part of America's disengagement from Europe. He also wants to, he's talking now about changing the force posture and like combining America's European forces with the North African forces and doing something similar in Asia. And basically 2 Republican senators stood up and said no last night. And they were 2, I'm going to see if I can find this. They were 2 lead Republican senators, which blew my mind. Hang on a second. And for the trolls, you can't say, you gotta, come on, guys, I want better trolls. You gotta send me your better trolls. I love when I told you this, how the trolls always crack me up because they always tell me I'm wrong at the wrong time. I'm quoting something Trump is saying. You can't tell me I'm wrong when I quote something Trump is saying. You've got to wait till I say it, then give my analysis, and then say my analysis is wrong. But you can't say you're lying when I'm telling you something Trump said. It's too soon. I know they have scripts. They have scripts and they don't follow the storyline. Listen to me, hear what I'm saying, and then throw in the lie from your script. I know. I just love that, though. You're lying. I'm lying that Trump said he doesn't want an American to be the general anymore in Europe. He literally said it. Like this is not something hard to find. Let me find this really quick. Hang on. I'm going to find this this story from last night because it was pretty wild. One sec here. Okay. The Republican chairman of the Senate and House Armed Services Committee. So this would be the House and Senate, our parliament, right, our Congress, the House and Senate committees overseeing defense spending, basically. Defense overall, armed services. The top Republicans on each of them spoke out and criticized Trump for doing this. Listen to this. We will not accept significant changes to our warfighting structure that are made without a rigorous interagency process, coordination with combatant commanders and the Joint Staff, and collaboration with Congress. Such moves risk undermining American deterrence around the globe and detracting from our negotiating positions with America's adversaries. These top 2 Republican defense officials in Congress came out and accused Trump of undermining America's deterrence around the globe, making it more likely that war breaks out with our enemies, that our enemies don't fear us anymore. I mean, the problem is I tried Googling and couldn't find any more news about this. It's from NBC News though, so it's real. But wow. I mean, this is great. Let's see if it continues, right? Because it's not clear. Actually, let me look. I'm going to do one quick look here and see if I can find, because right before the show, I tried to find a story on this, but let me Google the actual names of the Congress. It's Wicker, and who was the other one? Oh, Rogers, right? Rogers, Trump, Europe. Yeah. Listen to this. Okay. GOP committee chairs fire warning shot at Trump over NATO. The GOP, meaning Republican chairs of the House and Senate Armed Services Committee, fired a warning shot at President Trump on Wednesday, telling him not to tinker with the military structure behind the top NATO command position. Why it matters. The joint statement from Senator Roger Wicker, Republican of Mississippi, and Republican Mike Rogers, Republican of Alabama, is one of the strongest GOP warnings to date about Trump's plans to potentially reorganize parts of the government. Driving the news, the lawmakers were responding to a report in NBC News that the Trump administration is considering giving up the role of NATO's supreme allied commander in Europe. That position, which is traditionally held by a four-star general or admiral, is in command over NATO's military operations. The four-star also leads the U.S. European Command, one of 6 geographical combatant commands. The current commander, So I'm actually kind of blown away that they would stand up to him on this. Now, a lot of the news has not, okay, here's Reuters. A lot of the press has not picked up on this, though, and I'm kind of shocked. Here's Reuters. Top 2 Republican lawmakers who lead, hang on, I have to, or Reuters is hiding the article. Let me get it. One moment. Don't you hide this article from me. I can only subscribe to so many publications. I already subscribed to the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, and the New York Times. I'm not subscribing to another one. 2 Republican lawmakers who lead the Pentagon's oversight committees in the Congress issued a rare joint statement on Wednesday expressing alarm about a potential shakeup in U.S. military commands. The position we just talked about. Okay, I thought there was more. Sasha? That would be my dog. Here's her neighbor buddy in the hall. She loves that little dog. My neighbor's little Yorkie. Sasha! My neighbor's little Yorkie. Sasha likes to play with him, Brutus. Even though they don't quite play, they hang out. They don't play, but they like to be together. So Brutus always comes to our door and hangs out, and Sasha smells him and then freaks out. So it's very cute. Hey, Oliver in Sweden. So yeah, that is a very important story, not just because it's about Trump messing around with NATO and potentially undermining America's national security and Europe's security, but 2 top Republican defense senators, I should say congressmen, senator and congressman, coming out, the top 2 Republicans on defense in the House and Senate, coming out and publicly criticizing Trump and saying, you're not going to do any of this unless we go through the proper process, is fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah, that's really, let's see. I mean, it's only 2, exactly as Linda just said, it's only 2, but guys, this is still very interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, that's good at least. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That is it for the news. So that's it for the news. Let's hang out and talk the way we always do. As usual, I'm going to pull my cameras down a little. It's funny. My back is bothering me a little bit more off of the meloxicam, which is not good. Not bad, but a little bit more, which I'm not happy about, but we'll see. Because apparently you're not supposed to be on meloxicam long-term because it can cause bad things to happen. So that's too bad. Anyway, yeah, Sasha's fabulous. So yes, my dog, she's a Yorkie Bichon. As folks have got her photo, at least one of the, are there multiple photos? I forget in the, on TikTok and YouTube. Discord maybe too. The yoga was very good. Thank you for asking. But yes, meloxicam can do bad things, but it was very good for my back. So, yep, the one, it's the one. Okay, yeah, that's Sasha with her little ball that the folks are putting up on TikTok so you can see. And and YouTube as well. That's what I thought. Discord, you may have access to. You should have access to emojis, I think, on Discord that I put Sasha. I think I did. You have a Yorkie Bichon? Get out. Does she look like mine? Because from what I Googled online, they can be quite, they can look like that. They can yes, Sasha. Actually, Sasha once, I was trying to do push-ups. Oh my God. I was trying to do push-ups in my bathroom. I forget where. And every time I'd go down on the floor and come up a little bit, she'd come up and lick my nose. And then I'd go down and come up and she'd come up and lick my nose. And I finally started laughing and I couldn't do it anymore. It was the funniest, but it was the cutest thing, like up. Cause she's like, oh, what are you doing? Beep, lick, you know. Yes, I know. I need to try the inversion table thing. Anyway, so what else, guys? An 18-year-old Yorkie. Oh my God. Ooh, well, she's 15 now, so she's getting there. Anyway, all right. What else we got, guys? Speak to me. We won't talk food until the end. Let's talk politics. Let's talk Ukraine. Make sure the dog doesn't want water. Okay. Doesn't want water yet, although she's going to want water because she's been panting. Yes, do follow me. Actually, I just saw that Kate followed me. Thank you, Kate, or Katel, depending what your name is, or Kate. Do follow me on TikTok. I always forget to ask you guys that. I should have been telling you earlier. I do some updates during the day. U.S. Institute. I don't know if there's any news about the U.S. Institute of Peace. We talked about it the other day, Debbie. Just follow me. Thank you, Exhale. I appreciate that. Thank you, Steve, for the gift. Can you impeach a congressman or a senator? They can be expelled from Congress. They can be expelled. Oh, thank you, QT. Appreciate that for subscribing. I don't know what the process is. It has happened before. I believe, or was he a judge? There was an African-American who was really corrupt. I don't remember if he was a judge or if he was a congressman. There was also the congressman, although I don't remember if they actually expelled him or whether he left before. Remember the guy that used to wear the goofy clothes, the really almost like clown suits he would wear with the Trafficant, Jim Trafficant, I think it was, wasn't it? It rarely happens though, but there have been a couple. Santos, I don't remember. Santos was expelled, wasn't he? Actually, he was expelled. I'm forgetting that, but was he expelled? Okay, yeah. Yeah. But Trafficant, I don't remember if Trafficant was expelled or if he left. And then, like I said, there was maybe the black man was a judge, I think. I'm trying to remember. He was quite famous too, because he was super corrupt. But I can't remember. I'm like I said, I remember the one guy with the white hair and the goofy clothes, which was Trafficant, and the other guy was African-American, but maybe he was a judge. But he was super corrupt, as I recall as well. Thomas, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. But yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. So yes, so they can be expelled, but it's not easy. You know what I mean? So anyway, oh boy, Santos did get kicked out. I forgot about, God, how did you forget about him? He was so recent and he was so sort of flamboyant. Oh yeah. So you got a ton of pictures. Oh, wow. I didn't realize how many pictures I gave you on Discord. Okay. I have to say the Discord people, because it limits how many of these photos I can put up on the other services. Discord let me put up more. I just have to show you, because I will say I do have, it's a nice series of photos I've got of Sasha on Discord. Here we go. They are pretty nice, I will admit. The Discord photos of my dog. Hold on. La, la, la. My voice is a little raspy today. Oh, here are so here are the Discord. So this is the Discord collection of photos of Sasha. They get many more cute ones. Well, one's a repeat, but still. But that's the one of her in the bath. The one on the right, the fourth one, was when she was in a bathtub getting a bath, and it's adorable because she looks like she's smiling, but she's really not smiling in that fourth one. It's a dog smile where they're not really. Santos, Trafficant, Myers. Maybe it's Myers I'm thinking of. Okay. Or there was another judge that stepped down or something. Or no. Actually, this would be impeachment. The judge could have been impeached. I may be thinking about a judge who's impeached, and that's probably it. Yeah. So it was Trafficant. That's what I thought. He was the guy with the white hair and the crazy clothes. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, yes, she's a trip. Larry Craig. Larry Craig. I don't know who that person is, nameless person on TikTok. Ah, man. Man, oh man. Oh, hey, Linda. New Linda, as I recall. I think you're the new person, aren't you? Clean the fridge. That's good. Good. John Boehner. No, Boehner. I mean, he was like, I think they lost the leadership race. They were kicked out of the House. They lost the leadership race. That's different. When they were the leader of the party and then they lost to somebody else. That's different. Thank you, Tony, for the corgi. Since we're talking about dogs, and a cute gift as well. Oh, there's Harvey. Yeah, Santos was a weirdo. Yes. Oh, thank you for the sombrero, Eddie. Stock market is down again today. I forget how much, but it went down. It was not good today again. It just keeps going and go. Oh, thank you, Kimber, for joining the Discord. Excellent. Because you never know on TikTok. That's why I say, like, follow me on TikTok, but it wouldn't hurt to go to my link in my TikTok profile, click it, and join some of the social media. I'm most active on Twitter. I kind of I hate Twitter, but what do you do? Most active on Twitter. I do this show on YouTube simultaneously, so that's important too. I mean, on Discord, I'm me, John Aravosis. So I think you could probably just Google the Discord Aravosis Report or something like that, Aravosis on Discord, and it should come up. I mean, it's me. What was I going to look? You guys reminded me of something. I am on Blue Sky. I don't use it enough, but I am on there too. Most of my accounts, I'm Aravosis, my last name, just like on TikTok. YouTube, it's John Aravosis DC because YouTube is difficult. We don't know why. Every other social media app. Oh, the stock market. You're right. Thank you. Thank you for that, DeKidre. You are correct. Let's see. So I knew it went down today, but Dow Jones Industrial Average today down. No, actually not too bad. It's slightly down. Dow Jones is down 0.03. That's not too bad. NASDAQ might be down farther because they've been in trouble. NASDAQ down 0.33. Now, over 5 days, it's up a little. Over a month, down 11%. That's bad. And S&P, let's see. Oops, S&P 500, down 0.22. So it's down slightly today. Not bad. Not bad. TikTok's buffering. Nothing I can do about it. That sucks, though. Sorry. Anyway, any news regarding the flights to El Salvador? Yes, the judge is pissed and has demanded more information by, I forgot whether he extended the deadline. Oh, I had this information. I don't remember if I got it after the show or what. The judge was demanding more information basically from the government to explain. Oh, here we go. I literally just copied this story before the show. I was going to mention it and I forgot to mention it. I've got the story right here. A federal judge in Washington edged closer on Thursday to holding the Trump administration in contempt for possibly having violated an order he issued last weekend, pausing the deportation of scores of Venezuelan immigrants under a rarely invoked wartime statute. In an angrily written order, the judge, James Boasberg, told the administration to explain to him by Tuesday why officials had not violated his instructions when they allowed two flights of immigrants to continue on to El Salvador, even after he directed the planes to return to the U.S. Judge Boasberg also called out efforts by the Justice Department to repeatedly stonewall his attempts to get information about the timing of the flights. The government again evaded its obligations, he wrote. The most recent filing by the government was woefully insufficient. I mean, this is the very constitutional crisis we were worrying about, which is just like with everything else, Trump lies and doesn't care. He violates judges' orders and doesn't care. Guys, he sicked a mob on the Capitol, a violent mob that tried to violently overthrow our government and didn't care. I don't think he's going to care about a judge, right? He stole classified information from the White House and didn't care. He's not going to care about a judge. And that's the danger. And the big problem is it's almost impossible for the judge to hold the Trump administration in contempt. What's he going to do? Fine them? Who's going to enforce the fine? The Justice Department? No. Right? Is he going to throw officials in jail? Who's going to throw them in jail? The Trump's Justice Department? No. Right? So but I will say, well, it's bad. It's bad. If he decides to ignore the judge, it's very bad. But his whole life, what he did to women, right, exactly. I'm not going to repeat that, but exactly. The Access Hollywood tape, his whole life has been about doing things and ignoring the consequences because he knows he can get away with it. Yeah. Very scary. Very scary. Yeah, he didn't care about his vice presidents. Why is he going to care about this? Exactly. Oh, the Russia stuff. Well, the Russia stuff is clearly true. I mean, Trump's connection to Russia, we all know. And that's already been proven. Trump's own son admitted it. We know that. His son admitted to basically colluding with the Russians during the first election when Russian officials or people representing the Russian government approached the Trump campaign and said, we, the Russian government, want to help you. And Trump's son, Don Jr., was asked about it in an email. They said, Russian government officials approached us. They want to help us win the election. And Trump Jr.'s exact quote in the email was, I love it. We know this because Trump Jr. published the emails thinking they exonerated him. In what possible universe this exonerated him, but he did. So yeah, the Trump-Russia stuff, we know. We already know. That's a guarantee. And now after the Trump-Helsinki stuff, after now with Putin, we know Trump's own, by the way, I always appreciate when the trolls bring this up because it allows me to repeat this story too. Trump's own national security advisor, top Republican senator, very conservative Republican senator, Dan Coates, who ended up being Trump's national security advisor during the first administration. And you can Google this. Coates was convinced that Trump was corrupted by Putin, that Putin had something on Coates. Trump's own national security advisor, Putin had something on Trump. And Coates even had his staff check with the intelligence community to investigate if, in fact, Trump was corrupted by Putin, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, yeah. Crazy stuff. In any case, so I always appreciate the trolls bringing this stuff about Russia because I am happy to talk about Trump and Russia because no American president has had such a creepy affection for America's enemies and disaffection for America's allies and for America and its own troops. Let's face it. I mean, Trump did say about America's prisoners of war and killed in action, he called them suckers and losers. He said he didn't understand why anybody would ever want to fight in the U.S. military. Well, I'm sure he doesn't understand why somebody would want to risk their life for their country. I am absolutely sure that the man who had bone spurs and got out of the draft in Vietnam doesn't understand why people would fight for their country. I believe I absolutely believe he doesn't understand why. Correct. So yes. Katie said the Department of Justice claimed that the judge with deporting the Venezuelans, Department of Justice claimed that the judge didn't write down that they had to turn the planes around. He ordered them in court verbally, and because he didn't write it down, it doesn't count. Yeah. I mean, absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Base Panda, we actually started the show talking about a lot of the people who are being turned away at the border, including the French scientists, which is a very scary story. So crazy stuff. Yeah. Anyway, what else? Anything else, guys? Real contender for the next presidential election? I don't know. I mean, the problem is I don't know that we've got anybody new, right? I mean, Kamala Harris, we've done that. I just think she had her chance. It didn't work. And something went very wrong with her campaign as well, right? I mean, it's like the Hillary thing. Hillary should have won. There was a lot of reasons Hillary didn't win that were not her fault, right? Thank you for the panda there. Oh, you again. I remember you. Svevolod. I remember that name because I can't pronounce it. Svevolod. It's so Ukrainian. Hillary should have beat Trump. Obviously, the FBI screwed Hillary over. Obviously, the Russians screwed Hillary over, but it was Donald Trump. That means Hillary shouldn't run again. She tried. She's not going to win, right? Kamala Harris should have beaten Donald Trump. Now, Biden was a big weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, right? But Kamala Harris had her chance. No more. Pete Buttigieg is great. It's going to be difficult. He will have some challenges being gay. He's also, though, an incredible speaker and an incredible candidate in many ways. AOC, who is a Democratic member of Congress, a woman, her problem is going to be that she's a socialist, and that stuff doesn't fly yet in America. Again, people on the Democratic left like that. Nobody else does. Tough truths here. Maybe she can. I don't know that she can get beyond that. I think Bernie Sanders is the same problem. Not Bernie's getting too old, but people like Bernie. They like the way he talks. And Bernie's a man, by the way. AOC is going to have to deal with clearly American politics and women. Huge problem, clearly, for women in politics in this country. And we've talked about it. There's a prejudice there, not with white men, clearly. Bernie, a lot of people liked him. Even Republicans liked him for being a straight shooter. I still think in the end, and I think the Bernie Sanders people don't believe this, I still think in the end, the American electorate would have voted against Bernie Sanders for president because the man's not just a socialist, he was a Marxist. We don't vote for that here in America. We don't. Maybe someday we will. He was a freaking Marxist. There's no way people are voting for that. That stuff would have destroyed him. And AOC is going to have the same problem. Newsom is the governor of California. His problem, he's trying to position himself in the middle, very much in the middle now. He's trying to take positions to kind of piss off the Democratic left. His problem is he's a Democrat from San Francisco. And again, his positive is he's a very good speaker, very smart, very good at messaging, right? But he's a Democrat from San Francisco. Thank you, Karen, for the gift. That will be used against him. San Francisco is like the Republican stereotype of liberals, right? That will be used against him. Doesn't mean he's not going to win, but I'm just saying that would be his negative there. I don't know whether Elizabeth Warren would try. Elizabeth Warren is a bad candidate, unfortunately. I really like her. I got to have a meeting with her when she was in the Obama administration. She did a sit-down meeting with a bunch of the blogs, and I was one of them, and it was amazing. And she was so smart, so interesting. And at the time, I remember I asked her, and I said, "You going to run for Senate?" And she smiled. She goes, "I'm very happy in my job in the administration." I was like, but she was a terrible candidate, though. I mean, I just think she's not a good candidate. So that's no good. But I really liked her. She was great. Who knows about Andy Beshear and those guys? Andy Beshear, and who's the Josh Shapiro, right? Governor of Pennsylvania, governor of Kentucky, I think, right? I don't know enough about them. People like them. They think they message well. Here's a problem too, though. Is the Democratic Party ever going to nominate a white man again? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not sure they're going to get away with that. Really. I'm not sure that's some of the problem we're having with the party. I think that could be an issue. Yeah. Hello, you. You all right? What's up? Okay. I know it's kind of freaky out there. Still panting, huh? Are we still panting? Okay. I'm just petting you. I'm not picking you up. Don't worry. Booker has his own issues that I'm not going to talk about on the show. Booker's never going to be president. But we'll see too. There may be other guys out there. There may be other people who rise. I mean, Pete, we didn't really know about Pete until 2000, right? And all of a sudden Pete Buttigieg came on the stage and people were like, huh, he's really good. Andy Beshear and Josh Shapiro, I hadn't heard about before. Well, I mean, okay. I'd heard of Andy Beshear because I remember him winning in Kentucky. Josh Shapiro, I had not heard of, really. So new people do come on the stage, right? So there's that too. I just don't know. I mean, Ruben Gallego is interesting, right? Who's now was congressman, now senator from Arizona. Very smart, very good with messaging. Politically, I like him too. He's a Democrat. He's not far left. He's not center. He's just sort of a solid Democrat. Richie Torres fascinates me. Richie Torres is a Democratic congressman from New York, Black, gay, and Latino, which is an interesting mix. Incredibly well-spoken. I'd had him on I got to get Richie to come on the show actually again. I like him a lot. I got him on my podcast a couple times. Fascinating guy. Just a fascinating guy. So smart. I mean, so freaking smart. But yeah, U.S. is not ready for a gay president. I would probably agree with you. Having said that, I've talked about this before. I didn't think the U.S. was ready for a black president either. And I also thought there was no way Obama was going to get reelected as a black man, and he won twice. So I don't know, right? I don't know. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, then again, people sometimes rise out of like Donald Trump. It's not like Donald Trump was a candidate that anybody expected or was serious, and yet he rose. Obama kind of appeared out of nowhere. not nowhere, but 2006, Obama suddenly started becoming, no, 2004, excuse me, because I saw Obama speak at the Democratic Convention in Boston. So 2004, Obama was this new interesting guy. And all of a sudden, 4 years later, he's president. So, that happens, Michelle Obama, I love. She supposedly isn't interested in politics. I told you guys, I got to meet her several times briefly. The White House holds like Christmas parties. And as a blogger, I got invited to a number of the Christmas parties, got to meet her 2 or 3 times. 2 times, maybe? I forget now. 2 or 3 times. 2 times, maybe. The Obama party. 3, maybe. No, 3 times, actually. 3 times. And even though you're in a receiving line, you talk to her for 5 seconds, it's not long. I freaking loved her. Michelle Obama is such a good politician. It's not even funny. Barack Obama is a bit of a wet fish when you meet him. Like, shakes your hand, kind of boring, clearly not into it. The receiving line thing, Obama hated it. He hated meeting all of us. Michelle, I was like, oh, hi, Mrs. Obama. I said, I love you. I said, we're from Chicago. I was with my sister. Oh my God, where are you from? Where? We told her where we're from. And I said, this is my sister, Kathy. She's visiting. And she goes, oh, so yeah. So Kathy starts talking to her. It wasn't long, but we had this 5 or 10 second conversation with her. She's a damn good politician, Michelle Obama. Again, it was only 10 seconds, probably. For those 10 seconds, you were like, I love this woman. She seemed so interested in you. She seemed so vibrant, so engaging. Good word, Alex. So engaging. I loved her. Now, having said that, another person who was very interesting, I got to meet Hillary Clinton one-on-one back in like 2006 or so. I had a very big political blog in the US. It was one of the top political blogs. And a number of us got to go meet the Democratic senators. And we were sort of in a room where they would mingle or whatever. And I got to talk with Hillary for like 5 minutes. I was very impressed. I like Hillary. I am not an anti-Hillary person at all. But I loved her one-on-one. So engaging and interesting. And that personality came across that I didn't really get from Hillary, the candidate. I thought she was okay as a candidate, but I didn't think she was great. One-on-one, again, this was 2006, but my memory is I liked her, and I was surprised how much I liked her. I always liked her, but I was surprised how much I liked her. You know what I mean? And that was interesting. But again, she's got that one-on-one thing, but she does speeches and Also, Hillary was funny too, because Hillary, you would watch her do speeches. I remember Hillary speeches like this, and I'm watching Evita Peron give a speech. And then you'd see Hillary, oh shit, I bullies you or somebody else had a question earlier. Let me go back to that. Sorry, I'm remembering now. Hillary, though, would do a town hall. She would do a town hall with Chris Matthews on MSNBC. And she'd be sitting in a small room, like 100 people surrounding her on a little chair. And she was amazing. And she's going around the room talking to people, and she's personal, and she's interesting, and she's fun. And she was the exact opposite of the person she is when she got behind a podium. I thought she was horrible. But that one-on-one small crowd, she was excellent. Very interesting. No, but I just felt like Hillary was talking like this. And then you're like, no, you're better than this. Kamala Harris too. Not the best speaker. What do you do? There was one before that might have been you too. It was you. I'm sorry. I saw your thing and I was on a roll and I forgot it. I'm sorry. So Iboli was asking about if the judge finds the Trump administration in contempt and says, what would actually happen if they were found in contempt? More actually, what could they do? First, it depends who they find in contempt. Like, generally speaking, with contempt, you can give a fine, $5,000 fine, $10,000 fine. You can throw somebody in jail for a little bit of time. For example, if you find them in contempt, this is generally speaking, because they're not complying. The judge orders you to do something or turn over some evidence or something, and you don't do it. And the judge can say, you're going to jail. I'm finding you in contempt, and you're staying in jail until you provide the information I've ordered you to provide. So in this case, they would tell the government officials, until you turn the plane around or whatever the hell it is, I'm throwing you in jail. The problem is you can't throw a Trump official in jail because it's the Trump officials that have to throw him in jail. It's the Trump officials that run the jail. Donald Trump's Justice Department is not going to arrest Donald Trump's lawyers, right? The fine, the same thing. Who's going to collect the fine? Donald Trump's administration is going to collect a fine on its own administration. So I don't really know what they can do. I also don't know. I'm going to sneeze here. Sorry, my allergy or something just got me. I also don't know for something like this. Thank you for the bless. With an administration. This is another ChatGPT question. With an administration, generally, what does contempt, forget about the fact of whether or not Trump would go after his own people. Let's ask ChatGPT this one. Hold on. Trump is in trouble with a federal judge for deporting Venezuelans, possibly in defiance of the judge's order to turn the planes around and bring the Venezuelans back, period. You can search the web for more background on the story, period. If the judge were to find the Trump administration in contempt, comma, what can he actually do in response, comma? Can he fine them? Can he jail them? What kind of things do you do when you find someone in contempt when it's an entire administration? Let's see if it tells me anything new or whether it just says fines and imprisonment, right? Well, we know this. Fines, imprisonment, inherent contempt powers, Congress, we know that. In situations where an entire administration is found in contempt, the judiciary may target specific officials, hold individual officials such as agency heads personally accountable through fines or imprisonment, but it's not going to be enforced. Issue broad injunctions, mandate compliance across the administration, but they won't. Refer matters to Congress, seek legislative action, including potential impeachment proceedings, but the Republicans in Congress won't. Against present challenges, the judiciary relies. Yeah. There's absolutely nothing they can do. It's pretty much what I told you. They can fine you. They can put you in prison, but it's the Trump administration that has to fine the Trump administration, and it's the Trump administration that has to put Trump officials in prison. He's never going to do it. It's crazy. After the term is over, good question. Well, if the statute, here's the question. For any crime or whatever, if the statute of limitations has not run out, you can go after somebody. What I don't know is, can a judge go after you for contempt after you're out of the administration? The only thing is, contempt is often you're not abiding by my order. You can't abide by the order once you're out of the administration, right? So I'm not sure the judge can hit you with the contempt for something you did 3 years ago. I don't know. That's a really, let's ask ChatGPT. Okay. I have another legal question, comma. I want a legal analysis of this, period. Even if Trump's administration refuses to comply with a judge's contempt order, comma, ordering a Trump official to prison, period, could the judge go after the Trump official after Trump is out of office? Let's see. Again, I'm trusting ChatGPT. Great question. A federal judge absolutely can pursue enforcement of a contempt order against a Trump official even after Trump leaves. No. My question is, after Trump leaves office and his administration is gone, comma, so the administration official is no longer in office, comma, can the judge go after him to put him in prison or fine him for a contempt violation that happened while Trump was in power? Yes, a federal judge can go after a former Trump administration official after they leave office for a contempt violation that happened while they were in power. Okay, anybody know? No, Trump would potentially pardon them. Yes. But contempt of court, particularly criminal contempt, is a personal offense against the authority of the court. It does not disappear when someone leaves government service. If a judge found that an official willfully defied a court order, the judge retains the power to issue a contempt ruling after they've left office, order them to appear in court, impose criminal penalties, including jail time or fines. Oh, the key is that the alleged contempt already occurred. Oh, I see. So the point isn't you're not turning over the documents. The point is, I, the judge, have already ordered you to turn the plane around and you ignored me. That's a crime. Or It's contempt at least. So the crime, so to speak, has already been committed. I ordered you to turn the planes around and you said, F you. I'm not going to abide by your order. That's it. That's a crime or whatever at that point. It doesn't matter if you're out of power. You committed a crime. But Trump could pardon them. Yes, Trump could pardon them if it's criminal contempt. Yes. Timing doesn't bar enforcement. Usually 5 years for criminal contempt. Let's try this. What is the difference between contempt and criminal contempt? Would it be criminal contempt in this case? I really enjoy my ChatGPT, I have to say. The key difference lies in their purpose and consequence. Based on the scenario you described where a Trump official denied a judge's order, it is very likely this would be considered criminal contempt rather than civil contempt. Civil contempt, the purpose is to coerce compliance with a court order, fines or jail. Criminal contempt punish disobedience. Oh, interesting. So civil, although I'd still have to think of what the situations would be. Civil is when you're still trying to get them to comply. Criminal is when you've had it and they basically broke the law. Yeah, interesting. And I bullies, you did have a second one. Hang on, here we go. Oh, wait, there it is. I think the Democrats could get a decent amount of Republican votes if they run on the anti-Trump platform. I'm a Republican, but I don't support Trump or MAGA, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Yes, but the question becomes, what is the anti-Trump platform? Obviously, Democrats ran an anti-Trump platform last time. It didn't work, right? Obviously, they're going to run on an anti-Trump platform this time. Some people think Democrats ran the election because they were too anti-Trump. And they weren't pro-Democrat enough, right? They weren't talking enough about what they were going to do. I really don't know what the problem was with the election. Part of the problem was Kamala Harris is a black woman, and certain segments of voters didn't like either of those. That's part of it. But I don't. So I guess, feel free to weigh in more. You don't have to buy it, but thank you for the gift, by the way. But feel free to weigh in more. But what do you mean by Democrats talk? I guess what you're saying is, as a Republican who isn't a Trump supporter, the anti-Trump message resonates with you. The only thing is, that's potentially a bit of a catch-22. Of course, the anti-Trump message resonates with you because you're a rare Republican who isn't a Trump supporter, right? You're admittedly not MAGA. So like me as a former Republican from years ago, you're somebody who's probably pretty upset with the Republican Party because they've lost their way. That makes you more susceptible to an anti-Trump message because the Trump thing really bothers you. But for the people where the Trump thing doesn't bother them, would an anti-Trump message even work? Because they didn't care that he was a felon. They didn't care about January 6th. They didn't care about the Access Hollywood. They didn't care about him stealing classified information. That's sort of my, yes, Gunther, I intentionally do not say the full name so I don't get into trouble with TikTok, among others. That is correct. Oh man, it is funny though, but going off the meloxicam, I'm gonna have to call the doctor again. I can feel my back being a little worse off the meloxicam, which is not good. Not good at all. But in any case, I don't know. It's hard. I think it's certainly, CJ just said it was the promise of a better economy and the lies about immigration. It was also the lies about the economy. The economy was in damn good shape under Biden. We weren't allowed to say it. Everyone gets upset about it. Sorry. There was bad inflation. It was because of COVID and it was because of Trump and bird flu. And which I also have to say too, like now it's okay to okay Trump on the inflation problem because it's bird flu. It's not his fault, but we blame Joe Biden for the bird flu. And by the way, COVID is what led to the inflation, the post-COVID economy. But once inflation goes up, it doesn't come down. The U.S. economy was soaring under Joe Biden, absolutely soaring, and the Republicans lied about it, and the voters I remember at one point, some of the polls I was looking at last year, halfway through the year, the stock market was doing great last year, under Joe Biden's entire presidency, really, but last year. And they did a poll, and something like 60% of people, or whatever it is, or more, 70% maybe, of Americans believed the stock market was down for the year, was doing terribly. The stock market was up significantly last year. And the overwhelming majority of Americans thought it was down significantly. And it was like, seriously? I mean, I just it boggles the mind. Boggles the mind. 24%. Is that how much it was up? It was up a great amount. And now look at this year. Now the stock market's down. Inflation is rising. Growth in the economy is being forecasted down. Interest rates that were decreasing under Biden are now frozen because of Trump's tariff problems. Trump's tariffs are raising prices. Trump kicking out the migrants is destroying, or the people here illegally, is destroying a number of businesses, including farmers. Oh, dog wants water. 1 second. Oh, hello. Let me give you some water. Right? Oh, it's already 7:30. I didn't realize that. Oh, you want a treat too? We'll give you a treat. All right. Let's give you a treat. I know. You've had a bad day. All right. Oops. Give the dog a little water and a treat because she's not feeling very well because of the rains. Got her a little freaked out. So, all right. Oh, it's an hour and a half. I didn't realize we've been going for an hour and a half already. So, yeah, no, I mean, Biden was very good for inflation, very good for, well, in the end, good for inflation, better than Trump now. Good for economic growth, good for unemployment, good for the stock market, good for interest rates. And now it's all going belly up. Oh, well, told you so. Told you so. April 2nd. What's April 2nd, Jen? And our tourist industry is going to be a disaster, as it should. You are correct. Exactly, Lindy. Absolutely. I can't imagine coming here as a tourist now. Are you kidding? After what they're doing, like to this French person, I wouldn't even dare. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing to say, anybody who was publicly protesting in favor of Hamas or something, right? Like, okay, that's a smaller segment of people around the world coming here. But now they're saying anybody who ever said anything negative about Donald Trump, they're going to go through your phone or your computer and look for it and kick you out of the country and stop at the border. By the way, after you've already paid for the plane ticket and possibly a hotel and everything else, they're going to kick you out. Psh. I wouldn't be caught dead going to that country. They've destroyed. I would be very curious to see what happens with tourism in this country as a result of what they're doing right now. Yeah, very interesting. 1 French, 3 German, 1 Brit, 1 Canadian. Now, it depends again, the 1 German, I'm not sympathetic. The German guy, everyone was all upset about him. He had a number of problems, including the fact that he had a DUI, which was not cool. He had another offense that I can't talk about because TikTok got upset the other day when I mentioned his other offense. He also had a court case. He was due in court in 2022 and he blew it off, which meant there was a warrant for his arrest. You don't leave the country and try to come back in when there's a warrant out for you, right? He was stupid. At least from the story I read, if that's true, that was stupid of him. So that's why I say, I want to know the details more. But from what we're finding about the French person, the only possibility with the French person is if the texts were, calling for Trump's death or something, right? If in that case, that person might be in trouble trying to come into the country, right? Now, they went through her phone to read her text messages. Why did they do that? Right? She's French. You're a French scientist. Why would they go through your cell phone if you're a French scientist? That doesn't make sense to me, right? It's just like you're not from you're not from Yemen, right? Where they're like, okay, are you a good witch or a bad witch, right? That doesn't make sense to me. Jamie, I did not see the latest on that, although I'm not surprised because Putin was already doing some of that stuff with making people get Russian passports, or he wouldn't let them go to the hospital even in the occupied territories in Ukraine. So I know of that before. I didn't see anything recent though on it. But yeah, crazy stuff. Hola, Linda. Anyway, all right, guys, we've been going for an hour and a half. I'm going to call it quits. My voice was raspier tonight. I got to be careful. I have to learn to do the show and stop projecting because I've got a microphone. I don't need to project, but I'm so used to projecting when I speak that it's bad because I'm going to ruin my voice. All right. We got to mods try to remind me that I've got to learn to have because also one thing good with these mics is you can put them close and then you can talk softly. And actually these mics are usually much warmer, as I recall, when you speak closely, meaning when you speak close to a mic, I don't know how it actually sounds, but in principle, when you speak close to mics like this, your voice is a much nicer sound to it than if you speak away from the mic like this. It's not as warm as when you do this. Usually, this is a much nicer sound. Anyway, but I got to be careful because I can see my voice getting raspy, and I'm doing the show every day. I shouldn't be getting a raspy voice. It means I'm actually, if anybody has advice on voice stuff, I probably should pay attention to that so that I don't like ruin my voice or whatever. Northern Greek TikTok account. Oh, okay. I'll take a look. Thank you, Foodie. Thank you, Foodie. But yeah, it typically, I mean, I'm not going to have the mic up like this, but these mics, this is a pretty famous mic. This is the Joe Rogan mic. It is also the Michael Jackson mic from Thriller. He used this mic, but it's a very good mic for this kind of stuff. So honey tea. Okay. Well, I don't want to, well, the only problem is tea makes me pee. Like, I don't want to drink a ton of water at this hour of the night, but maybe we could see. Maybe I'll try a little bit. Salt. Oh, that'll dry it. I didn't even think of that. Lemons, honey after. Oh, that's interesting. Well, maybe I'll make some. Well, you know what we Greeks do? We Greeks are big on chamomile. Chamomile. And chamomile is like the Greek tea when you're sick, your mom makes you chamomile. So like even now, mom would go chamomile. So maybe I'll make some chamomile and put a little honey in it. That's a good idea. But it is funny. Greeks, it is true. Like chamomile, of course. But that's a good. I have some. I like chamomile. I like the flavor of it. But in any case, all right, guys. But except it'll make me pee all night. But it's a small price to pay. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Gunther's asking if any Canadians are still here. I don't know. Well, there aren't too many people on Discord anyway, Gunther. I mean, it's a smaller crowd there. All right. Have a good night, everybody. I'm back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday night. We're back at 6:00 Eastern. And then Saturday is the show for the paid monthly subscribers. So all the subscribers on TikTok, YouTube, and Discord, join me at 11 a.m. Washington, D.C. time on Saturday. And otherwise, last little pitch for TikTok followers or folks, follow me on TikTok if you don't already. I do shows during the day. Not shows, but I do news during the day. And also it means there's maybe a better chance of you getting a notification if you follow me. So can't hurt. All right, let's sign off of Discord first. Thank you, Discordians. Let me pull this over. Alrighty, good night, Discord. Boom. All right, YouTube, you're next, and then TikTok. All right, YouTube, bye-bye. There we go. And